So, it's getting cold outside, and what's our first instinct as cat owners? We want to create this super cozy, warm sanctuary for them, right? But what if some of our best intentions, the extra blankets, the heater humming away, are actually creating hidden risks? Today we're going to dig into the common mistakes that can mean the difference between a cat just surviving winter and one that is absolutely thriving.
And this is so important to remember. We're not talking about neglect here, not at all. These issues almost always come from a place of love and just, a misunderstanding of how a cat's needs are so different from our own, especially when the temperature drops.
Okay, so let's start with what I like to call the cozy comfort trap. This is all about how the things we do to make ourselves comfortable can, believe it or not, create some real problems for our cats. So the first and biggest issue is something we all do: central heating. We crank it up to stay warm, but what that does is it just blasts all the humidity right out of the air. Now, for cats, who are naturally not big drinkers to begin with, this super dry environment can easily lead to dehydration. And over time, that puts a real strain on their kidneys and their whole urinary system.
The good news is fixing this is actually pretty simple. Getting a humidifier can make a huge difference. Putting out a few extra water bowls around the house encourages them to drink more often. And serving wet food is just an excellent way to sneak more moisture into their diet. Oh, and a little pro tip, cats often prefer room temperature water over that ice-cold stuff straight from the tap.
All right, next up, where they sleep. We might see our cat curled up right on top of a heating vent and think, oh, how cute. But that direct, dry heat can seriously dry out their skin and their little paw pads. And on the flip side, those cold tile or wood floors can make their joints stiff and painful, especially if you've got an older cat.
And the traps, they don't stop there. Keeping all the windows sealed shut all winter, it traps dust and just makes the air stale. And while we might love those winter-scented candles or oil diffusers, a lot of those scents, like pine or cinnamon, can be a major irritant for a cat's sensitive respiratory system. But listen, pay special attention to the litter box. If you've moved it to a cold, drafty basement for the winter, your cat might just start avoiding it, which can spiral into some very serious urinary problems.
Okay, so we've covered those subtle environmental risks. Now let's dive into some essential health and safety checks that you absolutely need to be on top of during the winter.
This one is, it's just non-negotiable. Antifreeze tastes sweet, and it is incredibly lethal to cats, even in the absolute smallest amounts. You have to clean up any spills from your car, in the garage, or the driveway immediately. This is a critical safety measure, no excuses. And, while we love giving our cats all those cozy winter blankets, always check them for loose threads or strings. If a cat swallows one while they're grooming, it can cause a life-threatening blockage in their intestines.
Now, here's a fun fact that surprises a lot of people. Fleas do not take a winter vacation. No, they're perfectly happy to live and breed in our warm homes all year long. So you can't just stop that monthly flea prevention because it's cold outside. It's a year-round job.
Let's talk about grooming for a second. Brushing your cat more often in the winter is fantastic. It's great for their skin circulation, and it helps get rid of all that loose fur from their thicker winter coat. But here's what you want to avoid: bathing them. Most cats don't need it anyway, and getting their dense fur all wet can make it really hard for them to stay warm, potentially even lowering their body temperature to a dangerous level.
This is so important, especially for our senior cats. That cold, damp weather can make arthritis flare up pretty badly, and cats are absolute masters at hiding pain, so you have to become a bit of a detective. Are they hesitating before they jump up on the couch? Are they sleeping more? That's not just them getting old. It could be a sign of real pain. The best thing you can possibly do is just talk to your vet.
All right, so we've covered the environment and the direct health checks. Now let's talk about their daily routine, because a few small tweaks here can have a huge impact on their well-being.
Let's just bust a major myth right now. We tend to think, oh, it's cold, they must need more food to stay warm. But for an indoor-only cat, the exact opposite is true. They're usually way less active in the winter, so giving them extra food is basically a fast track to unhealthy weight gain.
So, to really improve their mood and their energy, we need to tap into their natural cycle. Think about it. Cats are wired to hunt, then eat, then groom, and then sleep. Mimicking this sequence, it satisfies their deepest instincts. So the question is, how do we do that when they're stuck indoors?
It's actually pretty simple. Before you feed them breakfast, start a hunt with about a 10-minute play session. Get out a wand toy, get them moving.
This triggers that natural sequence we just talked about. Do it again in the evening, and also, the shorter days can really mess with their internal rhythm, so open up those curtains. Let in as much natural sunlight as you possibly can.
Wow. Okay, we've gone through a lot of details here. Everything from air quality to play routines. So, with all this information, what's the big picture takeaway? How do we really shift our entire mindset when it comes to winter care? It's this, right here. The goal isn't just to get your cat through the winter without any major problems. The goal is to create an environment where they can actually thrive, where they're comfortable, healthy, and mentally stimulated, even when it's totally bleak outside.
A quote from our source material really just says it all. It's not about making huge, expensive changes. It's about all the small, thoughtful choices we make every single day that add up to a really happy, really healthy cat. So, that leaves us with one final question for you. After hearing all of this, what is the one small, thoughtful change that you can make today to help your cat truly thrive this winter?